because I keep saying hello like that, and I realised I'm in a bit of discomfort at the moment, and hearing myself speak hello in that way is painful to hear. So I'm going to try and just start over. Hi. So as you can see, I've got a carload of stuff behind me, and I'm at like a storage unit, self-storage place, a safe store, where I'm hoping to put some of my possessions for only a few days, literally a few days, to allow me to move on to the boat. And essentially my mental health has just delayed me being able to do what I need to do in the time and way that I'm at all able to live with. But basically my mental health has become really malicious to allow me to live life in any way for about 2 years now. And it was just a realisation that the other day that I don't know what it is. Every time I go to hospital for my mental health, and it is all too frequent, it's a case of and it's only a realisation like that recently that this has been taking place, but my mental health gets worse each time. So I'm not sure why that happens, but it has been happening. And I don't know if this is one of the times, one of the visits that 2 years ago or so that it started to get unlivable. That's really it. My mental health is actively stopping me from living. For many years it was like, I'm going to make life hard for you, but I'll draw the line at costing you any money because I know you don't have money, and I'll draw the line at stopping you from nourishing yourself, like eating and stuff like that, and I'll just challenge you on where you're fighting unnecessarily. But I've sort of seen where my mental health, what it was, the way it was interacting with me, the way it would do that. And I said, right, well, if that's what my mental health wants, I'll just structure my life accordingly. And I structured my life accordingly. And it's just taken a nosedive. I'm having to accept that, and that's what I'm going to be confronting head on in the next 6 months, a year. And beating into my muscles, not physically, but muscle memory, that using that idea as the terminology, acceptance, one, to the madness of my mental health, and two, to the madness that people persist to interact with me on. It's a weird situation. It's like I made a quote for the locker, and I was happy to see that they offered like a week minimum stay, and that's the quote that I put there. Got quoted for. And I thought it was a fair price. I didn't think about the price, if it was too much or whatever. It was just within my budget, and that's all that mattered. But there's this thing that I've been talking about, how I view that I'm affected by secret services and everything. And there's this psychotic storyline that's been coming into my mind, how secret services could be, well, either good or bad in a real drastic way on a mass scale with society. And that is like, all it takes, I mean, the guy at the shop doesn't have control of the prices, so all it would take is me to do an online quote and somebody to hack in and change the price. Now you'd say, well, why would secret services be altering the prices favourably or unfavourably for anybody? Well, it's like The Godfather, isn't it? I'll do you a favour, and you owe me. I'll take from you when I need it, and if you don't give me what I want when I ask for it, that's it. There'll be trouble for you. So there's one idea. That's the negative idea, that the Secret Service is a rogue. And in all honesty, a lot of my life points to that direction. But I don't make a final decision until I'm on my psychotic and spiritual and conspiracy theory ideas, until I'm like a little bit sure. Sorry about the state of the car, it's disgusting, isn't it? That's representative of me. I've not had a mirror at the boat to pick out this phone. I mean, ironically, I just put one up as I left to come back to the flat to pick up some stuff. So I might start looking a little bit more presentable going forward. Might. Still lots of work to do. So, but the positive spin on why the secret services would be doing that is that essentially the technology they have now is on another scale that is incomprehensible to us lay folk. And I've got ideas, because I love technology and I see the future. I'm a futurist, basically. That's my hobby. In terms of spirituality, society, the world, and reality. And I'm aware of the current technology, I'm aware of the advances, and I can hypothesize a realistic idea of where the secret services are at. But I keep getting shocked, because the more I give energy to it, the more I realise that they're on a totally different level, man. And where I try and just keep it real, I realise that they're just so far above my realistic ideas, because I could create ideas about where they're at all day long, but in truth they'd just be ideas until they become concrete, and I don't want to waste the energy. So I just try and figure out where are they realistically. And I've realised that they have the ability on a mass scale to really harmonise society, harmonise life for people in a fucking ideological, insane fucking system from the perspective of us sheep. And from that perspective, they can hack in and say, oh right, Andreas is, they've got a file on everybody. Imagine it like that. And money doesn't really exist. Money doesn't exist. It's all numbers on a computer, and money is now economics. And if they understand the economics, then they can fiddle it left, right and centre without any problem. They can just create money and make it disappear and take it from this person and put it over there and give it to this person. They're Robin Hood. Can you believe that? And anyway, they've got a file on me, and they assess my life. Well, a computer automatically does it. That's borderline super conscious. And they just punch in like, harmonise the world, and they make life easier for people by giving them reductions at times. And then antagonising them at other times for reasons I can't figure out, like they have done with my gas and electricity, which I still need to contact GCHQ about. I've been messed about in ways that just can't be possible, given the archaic meters that are installed at the flat, unless I'm being pestered with. It was like I charged my batteries on the boat the other day, and last I looked at them, they were about 12.8 volts, something in that region, and I left the generator on for about another half an hour. Realistically, they could have climbed to about 12.9, maybe 13 volts. The next morning I looked at it, it was looking at 14.5 volts. There's no way in hell that was possible. But the only reason I'm willing to say that was some sort of voodoo was because of all the other voodoo that's been happening in my life. And it was a bit like that just now in the safe store. It was like, I got a quote for £22 for a small locker, and then I looked at it and it was too small, so I needed 2 more on an upgrade. And I've just come away and the price is even less. And I can't work out for the life of me how that's happened. If I know it's the Secret Services, I'll have to happily decline, because I can't accept it. There are some times when I just need to eat, and if the Secret Services reduce my shopping bill by 20 quid for whatever reason, I'll have to accept, because it's food, I need it. Or if I need petrol or whatever, I don't have a choice, because I'm on the bread line at the moment. But you know, I was happy to pay £50 versus the £22, because that's what I remember from the quote. The 2 up was about £40-50. So how I've come away and it's cheaper, I don't know. So that's one idea how money has been hacked, but that's not what I was going to share. What I was going to share is, last year, the year before, I received the inheritance from my father, the first time in my life, other than the 6-month period prior to that, when I had appropriate benefits for my mental health and physical health, well, mental health, and I could live on those benefits. This is the only time in my life I've had money. Whenever I've had employment before, it was only one time I was still relatively young and I was frivolous with money. I also had my mental health disorder and bulimia, and a lot of my money got wasted on that. And it was only a basic salary for what salaries go for. But ironically, near 10 years later, over 10 years later, I had the same salary. But because I was a bit more of an adult, I tried to manage it better, and I didn't spend any money on myself. It just went on. I was living on the boat, and all my money went on trying to fix up the boat and living and commuting to work and food. So I was a bit more mature with my money, but I still couldn't manage it wisely. But because my mind is that way, it's like, as I said, I'm a futurist. My mind is always on the future. I'm making sure I'm safe. I'm a survivalist on through seeing my dad. My dad was like on point with money, and my mum always made his life harder. Me and my sister made his life harder. I felt for my dad on that level. I could see he always tried, but then he gave my uncle £14,000 out of compassion because my uncle was having a hard time, and I never really understood that. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I learned my lessons, and through all the hard times of not having money, by the time I started to get the appropriate benefits, I could relax. I could live comfortably for the first time. I had the means to manage my money appropriately. I had a way to deal with it. And then I got my dad's inheritance, and I spent it as I spent it, and I spent it a lot quicker than I ever thought I would. But I have my reasons, and I don't feel that I did wrong for spending it as I did, given my understanding of money and life before that. And as I said, I was on point with money for a good 6 months. Really, really on point. And now my dad's inheritance has run out, and I'm back on the breadline, and I don't have the appropriate benefits. I'm just living on universal credit. I'm thinking, the way I've allowed my diet the way I've allowed my spending of money in terms of food to relax has made it near enough impossible for me to go back to the same way. And also because I've become so much weaker through my mental health and willpower, the habitual patterns that I got into before, which were good with money, are just like near enough impossible to go back to. But the point is, what I'm trying to get at is, where I had money for more money than I could imagine in terms of my dad's inheritance for a year or so, and I didn't have to worry about money. It was like, no money, I can let the way I budget go and just keep it in mind. I don't have to count the pennies. And now it's coming back to counting the penny time. The weirdest thing happens, and it's like I'm enjoying spending money again. Is that weird? Can you comprehend that? I'm counting the pennies and I'm enjoying spending money. I had more money than I could ever imagine, and granted, my mental health didn't allow me to enjoy anything I spent that money on. But I'm not talking about purchasing a computer or purchasing a car or a boat or anything like that. I'm talking about going down the shops and buying some food. And again, what I'm talking about is going down the shops and not being allowed to buy what I want. And what I want is just good, healthy food. I'm not frivolous. I mean, there's only so much I can spend on one person, and I hate waste. So I'm not going to buy more than I need if I'm not going to eat it. And if anything, my diet isn't too well, it's not any more or less in terms of consumption. But because I've got a certain budget to work to, there's this weird thing, because it was always like, right, you've got £5 to spend on food today. I go to the shop and I know I've got to work to a budget, and I know I can't go over my budget, and I've got to be creative, and I've got to be like, what can I buy for food? What can I order? What can I do? What can I cook? What can I... And I'm going to Tesco and I'm looking at the reduced section, which if I ever did it when I was on, when I had my dad's inheritance, it was not in the same way, because I'm shopping there and I'm counting the pennies. I'm like, right, spring onions 20p, lettuce 15p, this whatever, and I count up my money and I'm like, yeah, that's enough. And oh my God, look how much food I'm allowed to have today, given my budget. And I enjoyed that experience. My mind was alert, my mind was awake, working with my, working within my means, that it wasn't able to do when I was able to order whatever I wanted that from Amazon fresh and have it delivered. I'm still petrified with my current financial situation, because I'm not receiving the finances I should be getting, and what I'm asked to live on universal credit with my mental health is impossible. My mental health makes living on universal credit impossible. But I'll contact the benefits advisor for the umpteenth time. There's a chance he's left me a voicemail, and due to my mental health, I've not been able to listen yet. And in the right time, I'll be able to get the appropriate benefits for my mental health. But likelihood is I'm going to go without for a while. What I'm getting at is, no matter how much money we've got, there's always going to be stress there and thereabouts. But if we've got a budget and we just put the stress that comes with managing money to one side, if you're humble and modest in your requirements, what we need, and you budget it all out, sorry, I'm in a lot of discomfort, I'm just trying to, you budget it all out, you go to the shop and you say, right, I've got £10 to spend on this, that and the other. Because you haven't asked for more than you need, it's like you're a child in the shop again, like in a sweet shop. Obviously with a more mature mind, you're just buying dinner. But you're like, oh right, what am I allowed? What does life give me? What food am I allowed? Like, I'm having to change my diet now because I don't have the money to sustain the diet that I had before. And I could get depressed, and I should be depressed, and I am depressed on one level about it, but I just have to keep focused and know that when things balance out, I can return to it. And in the meantime, enjoy the different food that I'm going to be eating. So I'm going to Tesco and buying canned beans. Like, I'm farting all the time, and that's part of the problem. But I don't have the possibility to change my diet. That's what I've seen as the diet that I can afford to function on, and my body will just have to get used to it. I'll have to ride out the pain and condition my body. Where I'm saying money has been hacked is because if we just ask life for what we need, and it might take us 6 months to really bang our heads on that financial wall to really understand what we need as a human being. within our means, within what life has given us, universal credit, and trim away where possible over that period. And you're like, after 6 months, you're financially toned. And when you're toned, you know, right, this is what I can spend, this is what I've been given. And you can be like a child, man, like pocket money. Go and spend your money on toiletries today. Going to Poundland to buy toiletries is an experience now. But you have to be frugal about it. You can't be like, oh, I want 3-ply or 4-ply toilet roll. You have to be like, I want 2-ply, and I have to be, you know, honest with myself to my budget, and I can't really be spending £2 instead of £1 on toilet roll. What am I really going to need it for? I mean, that was one of the things that I really did notice with my dad's inheritance. I started buying 3- and 4-ply toilet roll. Not expensive stuff, but instead of the £1 toilet roll, I'd buy the £2 one. And it was like such a nice experience to have an extra few plies, but you're hardly in the army and at war if you go for 2-ply toilet roll, are you? And this is coming a few weeks after that video I made about passing the supercar repair shop and seeing a flipping ping pong table and a bar in a repair shop. To know that the world is sick, man. And to keep honest and humble in our spending is all we need. And budget, budget, budget. I mean, break it down when you budget, you know. Just think about everything that you need to spend money on in your life, and prioritize from the most important to the least important, and then future plan to say, right, well, I'm spending X amount every month on ABC, and you put that money aside as a pre-mandatory amount each month. And you know you're getting X in, and you know you're going to have Y going out because you're future planned. And you can see, like, oh right, I've got birthdays in September. How much money am I going to spend on presents? Oh, I'm going to spend £400 on presents, say. How much does that break down over a 12-month period? And you put that in as D on your monthly expenditure, so you don't get to September and find out you're without money. It's hard because it's nice having disposable fucking incomes, but that's the problem when you got a supercar and you don't go to your local garage, you go to the garage that has a bar and a ping pong table. I mean, if you're a billionaire and you applied this logic to say, right, I have billions of pounds, I don't need to be counting the pennies, but when I go shopping, I want to know I'm not spending more than £100 where an average person is spending a fiver. And they budget within that £100. Instead of having a free reign to go to the nicest restaurants every night, top chefs from all around the world cooking your food, when just don't need it. If you don't have the time, fair enough, just get takeaway from your local takeout. What's the real difference? Fair enough, you're a billionaire, get it from the healthy takeout. What's the difference? Instead of a £30 takeaway, you get a £100 takeaway. Instead of going out and spending £500 because you're at a restaurant and it's appropriate to get wine, and because it's a posh restaurant, you get the £400 wine as well. It's like I used to work as a waiter and a porter for an events company, and I went to a Rockefeller event. I think it was at one of the London museums, History Museum, Science Museum, I can't remember. I can't remember where it was, but someone turned around to me and said, "Do you know how much this wine costs?" I was like, I think it blew my mind though. It was just too much for a wine that you can get for £5 if you really want. Alright, get a nice one, £30. Get a really nice one, £100. Anyway, I just wanted to make a live stream, and when I had that realisation at Tesco a few weeks, well, last week, and I thought to make a live, my mum said make a live stream about it. It just popped into my mind to make it now. I've said it. Break time over. Back to work. Unload this shit. It's all practical, but it's shit. I can't give any value to it. It'll make my life a million times easier, and it's within my budget. It's within being realistic. It's within being humble. But I can't give it any more credit than shit, because there's people suffering. There's people with nothing in this world. So the next time CIA gives you the opportunity to buy that thing that you really, really want, that's normally £500, and you see it for £100, that the Secret Services are made available for you for whatever reason, just think that you really need to sell your soul for luxury. Fair enough. If you need petrol, you need food, then you're on. You've got no money, then fuck it. You know what? Just realise the Secret Services are delusional with what they're doing. Just end war first. You know, you don't need to piss around with the monetary system. Maybe they're doing both at the same time though.